I'm not really sure whether the MMORPG genre truly succeeded on Android or not. There are thousands of MMORPGs out there, many of them with huge player counts, but very few real players actually playing. At least none that I personally know. One mechanic that really ends up hurting the experience for a lot of players is the autoplay system, and I know many people can't stand it. So in this video I'm bringing you the top 15 mobile MMORPGs with absolutely no autoplay, so hit that like button and let's get started. Let's start with an MMORPG that has been alive on the Play Store for more than 10 years. The game launched back in 2014 and we're talking about CELTIC Heroes. Inspired by Celtic mythology and set in the legendary world of Dalriata, this game delivers a classic MMORPG experience focused on exploration, quests, combat, and interaction with other players. It features a large 3D world filled with forests, ancient ruins, towns, and dungeons all tied together through story-driven missions. There are 5 starting classes in total, pretty standard overall except for the Druid, which plays quite differently. The game also has an open economy where almost every item and piece of gear can be traded between players, and aside from combat you can dive into professions like fishing, cooking, and crafting. There's absolutely no autoplay here, just a true old school MMORPG that feels genuinely authentic and really interesting. This one isn't extremely old, but it's still been around for quite a while. We're talking about a 2019 game called Evil Land. Evil Lands is an action MMORPG, basically an ARPG with a dark fantasy theme. I really like its more medieval atmosphere. I think it fits the MMORPG style perfectly. The game takes place in a fantasy world divided into large maps or lands, each one haunted by different monsters. You can choose between 3 distinct classes and the game lets you keep the same inventory and resources when switching between them, encouraging players to try all of them. But honestly, I find Evil Lands a bit limited when it comes to its class system. It uses an attribute system so you can build your character exactly the way you want, and it also includes co-op modes that almost feel like a single player experience inside an online world. Even though Evil Lands may look simple at first glance, it's actually quite unique and absolutely worth trying. I've always felt like this game is really underrated and surprisingly unknown, even though it's been around since 2016. Let's talk about Villagers and Heroes. The core idea behind the game is that you don't have to be just a hero saving the world, you can also be a dedicated villager focused on life skills. The game puts a strong emphasis on community, customization, and balancing combat with everyday activities. The hero side follows the classic MMORPG structure with battles, dungeons, and story-driven quests. And the villager side plays almost like a simulation game, letting you slow down, gather resources, craft, and live your own peaceful life. Of course, here you can switch between both playstyles whenever you want, or even be a mix of both. You can own your own house, complete with an animal pen and a garden for growing crops. If you're looking for an MMORPG that rewards both combat and peaceful professions, this one fits perfectly. This one is a newer MMORPG and you've probably heard about it. We're talking about the very controversial Tower of Fantasy. You play as a customizable wanderer who has lost their memories and becomes involved in the conflict between the remaining survivors and the mysteries behind the Cataclysm and the Omnium Radiation. The game originally launched as an alternative to Genshin Impact, but it was quickly overshadowed and pushed aside. What most people don't know is that the game has been constantly evolving and improving, addressing almost everything players have been asking for. For example, the game no longer uses a class system, it's now entirely based on weapons, which completely changes the way you build your character. Most recently, Tower of Fantasy removed the gacha system and all pay-to-win mechanics, turning it into a genuinely free-to-play experience. So if you tried Tower of Fantasy at launch and didn't enjoy it, it might be the perfect time to give it another chance. A lot has changed. Besides being completely new, this game is also extremely unknown with only around 50,000 downloads on the Play Store. Let's talk about TREEVERSE. It's been gaining attention for its vibrant art style and for being built as a truly mobile-first experience from the ground up. The game uses a top-down camera perspective similar to classic action RPGs or even MOBAs, but set within an open-world environment. Unlike traditional MMORPGs, TREEVERSE has no class system. Your class is defined entirely by the weapon you equip. Your abilities are tied or infused into the weapons you use, and you'll need to farm resources to upgrade your gear. NPCs offer quests with their own stories, helping you uncover the game's lore, but you're also free to explore the world at your own pace. It's worth mentioning that the game includes some NFT systems, but since I'm not familiar with that side of it, I'm just bringing the info as it is. This is without a doubt one of my favorites, and it has a very unique style of gameplay. Let's talk about the legendary TORAM Online. Originally released in 2015 for Android, it stands out for delivering a true classic MMORPG experience on mobile, avoiding autoplay features and focusing entirely on character freedom and storytelling. Just like in TREEVERSE, TORAM Online has no fixed classes. Your combat style is completely defined by the weapon you choose to use. You can create any type of character you want and customize it through a deep skill tree system, allowing you to build combos, create unique builds, and allocate your attribute points however you prefer. TORAM Online is often praised as a real mobile MMORPG, one that genuinely respects the spirit of classic games in the genre. Well, this is definitely the game with the fewest downloads on today's list, but that doesn't mean anything. Let's talk about the Lost Codex M. The game takes place in a fantasy world heavily inspired by Eastern and Indian culture and mythology. One of its main selling points is the ability to choose from 8 different tribes. Each tribe represents a completely unique playstyle, offering its own abilities and distinct combat approaches. You equip your character with weapons, armor, and skills tailored to your chosen tribe or class. Your goals include forming alliances, joining massive guild wars, and climbing the leaderboards. Even with its low download count, the game has a surprisingly solid in-game foundation, and it can be pretty challenging. The only thing it's missing is quite literally more players. In my opinion, this game technically doesn't have autoplay, but I understand the argument. Anyway, let's talk about Summoner's War Chronicles.
Insufficient range.
The main feature of this game is how it blends classic MMORPG elements with the monster collecting and monster battling system that defines the original series. You play as your own character, but your success in combat depends heavily on the team of monsters you summon, collect, and evolve. You can build a team of up to 3 monsters to fight alongside your summoner. Even though your monsters technically fight for you, the game gives you 6 different classes that can also assist in battle, but the core of your build and the real focus is definitely on your monsters. So you could say that Summoner's War Chronicles is a very unusual MMORPG, one that took the essence of the franchise and transformed it into a unique and refreshing MMO experience. Unfortunately, you won't find this one on your Play Store for very obvious reasons, but it's actually very easy to download. Let's talk about POKEMMO. It's not an official Nintendo/Game Freak game, but it became extremely popular thanks to how well it's made and how it expands the traditional Pokemon gameplay. POKEMMO is a free MMORPG that combines the stories and maps of several classic Pokemon games into one unified world, allowing thousands of players to interact, battle, and trade at the same time. Yes, it's exactly what you're thinking. Someone took Pokemon Fire Red and a few others and turned them into an MMORPG, and it worked extremely well. The game is highly praised by players on both PC and Android, and the best part is that you can actually see other players walking around, chat in the global chat, form parties, explore the world together, or challenge other trainers. Here's another one of those very unknown MMORPGs with unfortunately only about 5,000 downloads, but let's try to change that now. Let's talk about OHARION. The game is being developed by a small independent team and is usually available in early access stages or beta testing. Instead of rigid fixed classes, the game lets you customize your character through an attribute point system and a set of skills. You can focus on being a mage, a warrior, or even a hybrid. It all depends on how you distribute your points and what equipment you choose to use. There's a huge world to explore filled with dungeons, hunting areas, and hidden secrets. PvP also plays an important role, often happening in designated zones or even as open PvP in certain high-risk areas. OHARION is a hidden gem when it comes to MMORPGs on the Play Store, and just like a few others we mentioned, the only thing it truly needs is more players. Honor of Nations is a Brazilian MMORPG that stands out by focusing on historical and strategic elements instead of the traditional fantasy themes we usually see in the genre. The game revolves around building and managing a nation, engaging in warfare, diplomacy, and trade. It takes place in a fictional historical setting, but it's heavily inspired by real-world nations. Players take on the role of leaders of their own countries, shaping their political, economic, and military paths. The game includes resource management, industrial production, agriculture, and trading systems, requiring players to run their nation's economy efficiently. You'll need to interact with other nations as well, forming alliances, making non-aggression pacts, or declaring full-scale war. If you're looking for a game that merges the depth of running a nation with the massive online interaction of an MMORPG, all centered around strategy and politics, Honor of Nations might be a great choice. If you enjoy intense combat but still want an MMORPG that feels truly different, then you need to know Crystal of ATLAN. The The adventure takes place on the continent of ATLAN, where ancient artifacts and energy crystals shape the balance of the world. The story revolves around conspiracies, rival factions, and a mysterious type of energy that can create wonders or destroy everything. Its strongest feature is the stylish, action-packed combat. Each class has well-choreographed moves, fast-paced combos, and flashy visual effects that make every battle feel dynamic and satisfying. The game offers several characters to choose from, a semi-open world to explore, and unlike many other MMORPGs, it includes proper dungeons where you can progress and strengthen your character. Crystal of ATLAN delivers exactly that blend of style, fluidity, and cinematic action, perfect for players who appreciate a more polished and visually expressive combat experience. I started this MMORPG thinking it would be full of autoplay, and I ended up dying over and over. Let's talk about Blade Soul Heroes. Unlike traditional MMORPGs where you control a single avatar, Blade & Soul Heroes uses a hero collection system. You build a team, strengthen your characters, and combine their abilities in battle. The game offers a full story mode, resource farming dungeons, and PvP arenas where you face other players' teams. It also stands out for its high-quality mobile graphics and the distinct character designs inspired by the Blade & Soul universe. The combat is very different too. Your main character fights alongside secondary heroes who chain their skills into flashy combo attacks, and something that really caught me off guard is that one of the main ways to earn items and money is through turn-based RPG battles. I honestly didn't expect that, and I thought it was pretty wild. If you want to truly invest yourself in an MMORPG and play it for a long time, this game is made for you. Let's talk about Albion Online. This is a game built entirely around player freedom. There's no linear story questline. You set your own goals, whether that's becoming a legendary warrior, a wealthy merchant, or a peaceful farmer. Almost every piece of gear, every tool, and even consumables like food and potions are crafted by players using gathered resources. Item prices rise and fall based on real player supply and demand, which means you can become rich through trading or crafting alone. But be careful in most dangerous zones, red zones, and black zones. If you get killed by another player, you lose everything you were carrying. That risk and reward loop is a huge part of what makes Albion unique. Guilds are essential for endgame content, capturing territories, defeating dungeon bosses, and protecting resource caravans across hostile regions. Let's wrap up this list with another one of those hidden gems, a very unknown but surprisingly interesting MMORPG called AERO Tales. What defines AERO Tales the most is its visual style. It uses a unique anime-inspired look, yet the moment you see the game, you immediately recognize it as a full MMORPG. It usually offers classic fantasy classes like Knight, Mage, Archer, and others, each with its own distinct set of abilities. Combat is real-time and dynamic, requiring players to dodge, block, and chain ability combos instead of relying on automated systems. The game positions itself as a fun and visually charming option for players who want an action-focused MMORPG without the overwhelming complexity of sandbox titles or the heavy, serious style of more traditional games. And that wraps it up. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more great mobile game discoveries. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.